Let's see what we have going on today. Let's go, baby. Rockford Fosgate P3 15. Oh, and you know I gotta get a second one too. Ooh, shit. Damn, that's a big ass sub. That is a grown ass man. Oh yeah, that's gonna look beautiful. All right, so here's the situation. In my last video, I installed some kicker speakers that came in the preloaded box. This time around, I wanted something with a higher sound quality, but still had a hard oomph. Problem is, these speakers don't come with a box already, and ideally, I didn't really want to have to go buy one and didn't like how it sounded. So I figured, what if I could just build my own box that would fit perfectly into my Jeep, maximize the space, and give me back some trunk space so I could do other things like, you know, haul groceries or whatever I need to do with my trunk. So that's what this video is about. Stay tuned. If you're like me, your first thought is, fuck, how I'm gonna build this box? I gotta buy a saw, I gotta buy a whole wood station, I gotta learn how to use routers, tools, all this. Nah, no. What we're gonna do is we're gonna work smarter, not harder, and let the Home Depot guy do most of our work. Watch this. So after figuring out what dimensions you want for your box or how much space you have to spare, step one is to double check them to make sure they create enough airspace that you would need for your subs. After that, you then want to try to draw out your box. I tend to overachieve and use CAD software to really over-engineer this shit. None of this was necessary, but it works. And the reason you're doing this is because you want to use this information to figure out exactly what size pieces that you need, because you're then going to use this to formulate a blueprint of dimensions to let you know exactly what kind of cuts you need. Word of advice, always design the left and right piece as end caps. You don't want to design them so that they squeeze in perfectly between the top, bottom, front and back pieces. Trust me on this. You want them to be an end cap, and you'll see why later on. Okay, so as you walk into Home Depot and get your 3/4 inch MDF board and you request it to get cut, the first thing you're going to notice is a big sign that says no precise cuts. That's because they're not allowed to do precise cuts, so that's okay. The easiest way to solve this problem is to make sure you build your box with the minimum amount of cuts. I would suggest that your very first cut is across the length of this entire board. Follow this red line to see what I mean. That way, if the guy messes up, like let's say you want it to be 40 inches wide and he cut at 39.5 or 40.25, all the pieces should still line up to form a perfect box. See what I mean? See how all the sides line up on the first 4 cuts? That's what I'm talking about. Don't be afraid to double check this guy's work in front of him. You don't want to take this trip twice, but if you look at this clip too, you can see it forms a perfect box. And then once you add the end caps, you can see how they can fit on regardless of whether or not his tolerance was a little off. And this is what I mean with the end pieces. So even though all 4 lined up, the end pieces might be a little off. But that's okay. We just want to seal the inside of the box, and we're going to wrap it anyway. Matter of fact, when you design the box, put the outer round ones towards the back. You won't even see it. As far as building materials, you're going to need a few things. One being Big Gorilla Dick brand wood glue. You're going to need some silicone to help seal your box out. You're going to need a box of screws. I usually say about 2 inches. I did 2.5 for this build. Stick to 2. And you will have to buy a jigsaw, but don't trip. Overall, the total cost for all this was about $120. But remember, you could take your jigsaw back for like $50. And your entire box was what, $65? Can't beat that, man. So a lot of this video is going to be a time lapse. I actually built another box 2 weeks ago, but I messed up somewhere. I'll explain that later. So as you watch this, you're going to see a lot of footage from the old build and this new build spliced into each other, but the process is the same. So you know the old adage, measure twice, cut once? I would suggest coming out the gate, you draw lines on every box to show where other pieces would meet, other faces of the box would meet. Like for example, this is the front piece. This is a side piece, so it'll meet right there. So I'm gonna draw that line and the outline of that. I'm then gonna use that to make markings as where I'm gonna pre-drill my holes. With this MDF stuff, you need to pre-drill every hole or you will split the wood. So I really just did that so that I know my pre-drill holes are at least, you know, not on the edge here or something. They'll be like towards the middle. So that was one way to do it. What I personally prefer is pre-drill the holes on one side, on one piece by itself. Then you want to line up the pieces so the edges line up. Then drill through here enough to make a marking on this side, then drill that hole. That way you know everything lines up perfect and something's not like off by a 1/4 inch or something. So since I used the first hole as a guideline, you now see this other hole is lined up perfectly, and then I can drill through there the whole length that I need for this nail. And as you can see, one screw is in, perfect edge, perfect 90-degree angle. So what I do is I do one side, then I do the far opposite side. That's to ensure that they line up, and then I do the middle holes. And it's pretty much that. And there you have it, all screwed in. See the sides meet up nicely. And guess what? After all that, you now need to unscrew these, and then you need to apply the wood glue to screw it back down. Get real liberal with this shit. You cannot have too much of it. Throw in some gloves so you don't stick to everything. And get real liberal with that shit. Yeah. The wood glue is what's gonna help hold it together. The screws are just there for support. Yeah, that shit in there. This will get messy when you sandwich it together. And don't eat none, damn it. And there you have it, one side done. Overnight, we're gonna have to let this dry, but we're gonna build the rest of the bots. And yeah, the rest is just gonna be a time lapse because it's pretty much the same process over and over. Time consuming, but worth it. But yeah, just repeat that. And as you start to build this box out, make sure you build in the same order that we practiced in. Front, back, top, bottom. Don't touch the end caps until later. Quick update, it's coming together nice. All the pieces meet together fine. Real good. Only real blemish is right here. I dropped a piece. Like literally, I literally dropped a piece on the floor. But that's on the outside, and it's still gonna be sealed from the inside because you see it still meets just fine. And that's what's important. So I'm gonna get these end caps on. Now, like I said, the reason you wanna cut with the end caps on the outside, there's a chance he may not have cut this exact. Case in point of why you use end caps instead of inserts. See this? Things aren't lining all the way up. Look at that. But that's okay, because our goal is just to make sure the inside of this box is sealed from the outside world. So line up the corners you care about. Me, it's the front and top, because that's what's gonna show. And then you just, you know, screw in around them. It'll work fine. And we'll probably wrap this box in some carpet or paint or something, so you won't even notice. But yeah, end caps follow the same procedure as the other pieces, but what was cool was I noticed that this end cap was kind of long, and I used a saw to just trim the piece off so it lined up perfectly. Get that towel to wipe off that extra glue. There we have it so far. A really clean box. Like, this is really, I did a pretty good job, man. I mean, it's just a square box, but way better than the shitty job I did last week. So after spending what felt like a fuck ton of time trying to do math to cut good circles, Rockford Fosgate, if you're watching this, start giving us the damn cutouts. We're ready to cut this bad boy. So with your jigsaw, what you want to do is you want to drill a hole inside and then work your way out. I say take all that extra wood they gave you and practice, because this is where I fucked up on my last box. Like I said, find a drill bit. It's about as wide as thing. Drill your pilot hole. Finally made it through. You see, drill bit can fit. Let's get to it. Pausing the video to show how I gradually work my way around, and then I'm about to finish off this last cut. A little lopsided, but I think it'll do. One piece of advice I was giving was don't actually cut your lines, cut smaller and then sand down to it. Fuck that. So I decided to do a quick test fit, and yeah, looking good. Perfect fit. And even with the trim ring, box is the perfect height. Look at that. Perfect height. It's gonna look real nice when I'm done, man. So now that I know my subs fit pretty well in these lopsided ass holes, there are two things we need to do. One, we need to seal this box from the inside out with some sealant. And two, I need to cut some bracing. So I usually wait to brace my bosses. Some people do it as they do it, as they're building it. My brace is usually just a simple small piece that goes from here to here on the inside to help brace this front piece as the subs. So when it comes to this caulk sealant, feel free to get real liberal with it. Just squeeze into the corners using your caulk gun. You grab your finger and a pair of gloves you don't care about throwing away, and just keep working it back and forth all through it. You can see I got the bottom piece sealed up pretty nice. I'm gonna do the rest. Then I'm gonna start with this bracing, and then once that, we're done. So I got the whole box done. I ran out of caulk and had to go buy some more. And I'm just say quality over quantity, man. This new shit stank. A little bracing in ain't the cleanest thing I've done on this box, but it's strong enough to lift the whole box spot. So, you know, it'll get the job done. Yeah, so I'm gonna go do a quick test fit in the car, make sure it fits. Then after that, let it dry overnight. That's a perfect fit, man. That is a perfect fit. And the whole purpose is to get some of my trunk back. Like you can see the old box holders. The old box came out to here. Got my trunk space back. I'm gonna put the 215s in, put the grills on. Then we can finally put, like, you know, groceries and luggage and stuff. Yeah, I'm loving how this look. Okay, cool. It's the next day. Everything dried up pretty nice. Not a fan of this smell. I kind of went in and tried to wipe out some of the excess caulk. You'll see it start to gunk up some. We're better safe than sorry. But now it's time to start making the speaker terminals. So for the speaker terminals, I'm just gonna drill 2 holes and use a series of washers and bolts. And yeah, this worked really easy. It's a real easy way to do this instead of going out and buying a whole speaker terminal and cutting out circles and hoping you get that right. And that's all there's to it. You can use as many terminals as you want to get what you need. But yeah, it's real simple. So now we got the terminals. I'm gonna wire this all up and we're gonna see how it sounds. Took way longer than it should have, but I got the speakers wired up. That looks pretty clean, man. So now we're gonna tune the amp. Then we're gonna do a little bass test. So there you pretty much have it. I ordered some carpet and also ordered my speaker grills. They haven't arrived yet, but it's not really worth making a whole video for. But overall, I'm pretty pleased with this box. I'm very pleased with the sound that comes from Rockford Fosgate. Like, this is a really clean bass hit. I plan on doing more videos, especially comparing Rockford to Kicker, because I have clips from both sound systems. But yeah, just stay tuned, man. And yeah, man, as usual, if you laugh or you learn something, like and subscribe. It's been real.